I just left a closing on new construction, and a couple days ago, I noticed a $4,000 error on the closing disclosure, and it got me thinking about how frequently buyers think that they don't need an agent representing them on new construction for 100 different reasons. There is this perception with the general public that one, new construction, it's new, so certainly there's nothing that's going to go wrong, and two, that they're going to get a better deal if they work with the builder's sales rep. And as agents, I think it's our job to educate the public that that could not be further from the truth. And some of the hardest deals that I have had this year have been new construction for varying reasons. And this one that I just closed, the construction manager was fantastic. He's the best that I have worked with this year. So it wasn't on the building side, although many others this year have been just a train wreck as far as the quality of product they're putting out, and then the pushback that comes from construction managers and even their bosses, because I've had to go that far. This particular closing, though, was nothing to do with the quality of the build. They really did do a great job and were not stingy when I was in there blue taping imperfections. But on the lending side, there was a mistake that was made that would have cost my client getting $4,000 of the credit that we had negotiated. And essentially, we used that money to buy his rate down by 1/4%. And that changed his payment by about another $70 per month. And what happened was when we negotiated the purchase contract, the builder was offering a $10,000 incentive if you used their lender and their title company. Pretty standard, very normal, at least in the market that I serve, that there's some type of incentive. But I always ask if there's any more incentive than that we could get thrown in. And in this case, the sales rep was able to get another $5,000. So a total of $15,000 credit to my buyer. Fast forward, we are getting the figures to review this week, and I look at the seller credit and see that it's only 10,200 and some change. And I thought, that's odd. So I started looking into the breakdown and wondered if, oh, well, maybe it's because he is maxed out on the credit. And so I asked them if we could pay HOA dues in advance, because I knew how close we were to closing, and I wasn't sure if this was just a mistake that they made or if there was something else that I was missing. I tend to ask questions. I don't want to come off as accusatory. I was a loan officer many, many, many years ago, and things change. I certainly don't want to imply that I'm an expert in that piece of the puzzle, but the math was not mathing on this credit, and started looking into it some more, went back and forth with the sales rep, and then got on the phone with the loan officer, and he was super apologetic. He hasn't been a loan officer for a very long time, but has been in the lending world, an underwriter, a processor, etc. And what happened was that he was so used to this builder having this standard $10,000 credit that he had missed in the contract that this one is a $15,000 credit. So we're a couple days from closing. Disclosures have already gone out, and it was a lot of money to use up on HOA dues. The HOA dues in this community are like $120 a month. So it would have taken a lot of prepaid dues, and through a lot of calls and gentle nudging on my part, we were able to get the lender to go back and do a rate buy down for my client to use up just about all of it was almost $4,000 that was missing, and as far as what he was entitled to. And that ultimately brought his rate down by 1/4%. And that's a big difference. So I think that moral of the story is Agents are very, very much needed on new construction. And in some regards, I would argue we are even more valuable on new construction than on resale because there are a lot of checks and balances that need to happen on a new construction purchase. An error like this would absolutely never happen by one of the preferred lenders that I work with. They would never not read a contract because they are so used to it being a set amount. And I don't think that it was intentional. I don't think there was any malice, but had that not been caught, well, the builder makes 4 grand ish more. And that's my job. I'm there to advocate for my client and do those checks and balances. And it's not just with the loan, it's us being involved. I always help my clients pick out their selections so that I can help them make decisions on what to select and what's going to be the best ROI or what they should wait to have done by their own contractor after closing because it's going to be really expensive to have the builder do it. There are so many walkthroughs with new construction and the level of detail that goes into a blue tape walkthrough and making sure that I document what is found from that. Even in this case, this house, aside from the normal paint touch ups, there were like 8 to 10 items that were actual repairs that needed to be done. And I keep a separate list of those. I don't rely on the builder to maintain those lists or even keep them accurate because I get it. They are delivering a lot of homes in a short period of time. That's just the nature of the industry right now. But for me, every single detail matters for my client to make sure that that home is as close to perfect. No house is ever perfect, it's impossible, but as close to perfect as possible so that they don't have to have tradesmen coming in from the builder after they move in. Nobody wants to move into a new construction home and then have a revolving door of, the plumber, the electrician, the paint guys, the tile guys fixing things that should have been done when the home was delivered. And as agents, it's our job to educate the public and our clients of why our representation is very much needed on new construction. I can give so many examples over the years, especially in the last 5 years, where new construction has been a really rough ride. And new does not mean that everything is working the way that it should. No one's ever lived in the house before. So sometimes things are found once a client moves in, and sometimes that means needing to advocate for them with the builder and the construction manager or the customer service rep after closing. And we can do all of that for our clients and give them that value and peace of mind that when we're representing them, it doesn't just stop at closing. We're there for them to advocate as needed moving forward, too. So I'm super happy that my client got to utilize his full credit. There was a little bit left over after the rate buy down, and we just paid the HOA dues in advance a little bit with that, and all is well. He wouldn't have known. He had no idea to look for that, nor should he. That's not his job. But if he hadn't trusted me to help him on the new build purchase, he would have been out on his own, and he said he would have been out $4,000. I hope you got some value from this. If you work new construction, I really do think that you should have your own system in place to make sure that you are providing that value to your client and getting them as much as they possibly can from the builder. And then, of course, making sure that everything prior to closing is as good as it can possibly get. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I love hearing from you. And until I see you on the next one, take care.